Hi, I'm Professor Scott Lucas of the Department of Political Science and International Studies, and I'm here to talk to you about a first-year course we run on problems of world history in the 20th and 21st centuries. And that's quite ambitious, right? We're covering more than 100 years in 10 weeks. So how do we do that? Well, we do it around three things: power, stability, and ideas. In other words, the issue from well before World War I in 1914 through World War II, the Cold War, now in the 21st century with the wars on terror and all the regional conflicts, is who has power, who's trying to get it, and is there a way that we can have ideas to make this a more stable place, where that search for power doesn't end in war, but in cooperation. Now at times, quite obviously, that hasn't worked. World War I was the story of the breakdown of a system that had been in place for hundreds of years, but that in fact wasn't a balance of power. It was just hiding the fact that at one point, someone was going to wind up killing millions of people to try to grab more power. World War II was the failure of World War I. In other words, far from finding a stable system to prevent global conflict happening again, we just built up more economic, political, and social problems. But then after World War II, there was the hope again. You know, could Africa, Asia, Middle East, people in emerging countries not simply be subservient, be colonist, but find their way forward? Now this got overshadowed a bit by the Cold War, that big conflict which included the US and the Soviet Union and a lot of other countries, but one in which people played at total war through economies, ideology, their cultures, just so no one would actually use an atomic bomb to end the other side once and for all. You know, the Cold War ended, and once again we had more hope. Okay, can we have a European Union to bring Europe together? Can we find a way forward for African countries that had suffered from debt, deprivation, disease? And that hope had to confront the fact that there were still civil wars. There was this thing called 9/11, when Al-Qaeda not only blew up the World Trade Center, but showed that in fact we didn't have an end of history where there was going to be peace and no more conflict. You know, over the last 10 years, I've been talking here at Birmingham about a war on terror, and we'll include that in the course. But I'm also going to include the alternative. Power doesn't have to end in fear, or in terror, or in conflict. Get the right ideas, and you can find hope. And that's what this first year course is all about. I'm Scott Lucas, and I look forward to seeing you at Birmingham.